climbed onto the bowsprit when a sail filled up with another breeze and flapped sharply, sounding like a gunshot. The sail almost hit me, nearly tossing me into the sea. Quickly, I crawled along the bowsprit and tumbled headfirst onto the deck. From where I landed, I couldn't see anyone, but the deck, not cleaned since the mutiny, was dirty with footprints. A broken bottle tumbled to and fro. Suddenly, the Hispaniola went right into the wind, and the whole ship shuddered with a horrible sound. At the same moment, the mainsail boomed, groaned, and swung aside, and that's when I saw the two pirates. Redcap was stiff and flat on his back, with his arms stretched out like a cross. Nearby, Israel Hands was leaning against a barrel, his chin on his chest, his hands lying open before him on the deck, and his face deathly white. The ship kept rising and falling, turning this way and that, as the boom swung to and fro, and the mast groaned loudly under the strain. Blasts of sea spray occasionally drenched the deck, and the men's bodies swayed with every movement of the ship. The deck was stained with splashes of dark blood.
Have they killed each other?
I wondered. Suddenly, Israel Hands turned and moaned with pain. His jaw was hanging open, and I felt pity for him, until I remembered he had planned to kill us.
Are you all right, Mr. Hands?
I asked, keeping my distance.
Get me some brandy,
he croaked, as he rolled his eyes to try and focus them.
He may be dying,
I thought. I raced down the stairs to the captain's cabin.
What have they done?
I gasped as I looked at the mess in the cabin. Anything that had been locked was broken open in the pirates' search for the map. Mud covered the floor where they'd sat drinking. The white walls were smeared with dirty handprints, and dozens of empty bottles clinked together in the corners. The doctor's medical book lay open on the table, half of the pages torn out.
They probably used the pages to light their pipes,
I thought in disgust as the lamp still cast its smoky glow. I went into the galley. The barrels were gone, and empty bottles were lying everywhere.
They were drunk the whole time,
I said. I found a bottle with some brandy left, and discovered some biscuits, pickled fruits, cheese, and a bunch of raisins. I came on deck, went to the water supply, and had a good deep drink. Then I gave Israel Hands the brandy bottle. The pirate gulped all he could.
Aye, by thunder,
he said.
I needed some brandy.
I sat down and ate.
Are you hurt much?
I asked.
If that doctor was aboard,
growled the pirate,
I'd be all right, but I have no luck.
He pointed to Redcap.
That swab is good and dead.
Then he looked at me.
And where did you come from?
I'm taking possession of this ship, Mr. Hands,
I said.
Please regard me as your captain until further notice.
He looked at me angrily, but said nothing.
I don't like your flag, Mr. Hands,
I told him. I ran and pulled down their black flag and threw it overboard.
God save the king!
I yelled.
Captain Silver has lost!
The pirate watched me slyly, his chin on his chest.
I reckon, Captain Hawkins,
he said at last.
You'll want to get ashore now. Let's talk.
Why, yes,
I replied.
With all my heart, Mr. Hands. Talk on.
I sat down again and continued eating.
I and this man,
he began, nodding at the corpse.
We put the sails up to get her back to the island. Well, he's dead now, so who will sail the ship? You can't, you're just a boy. Now, if you give me food and drink and an old handkerchief to tie up my wound, I'll tell you how to sail her. That's fair, I think.
I won't go back to Captain Kidd's anchorage,
I said.
I'm going to North Inlet and will beach the ship there.
I know I lost, and you have the better of me,
admitted the pirate.
North Inlet? Fine. I'd help you sail up to Execution Dock if you asked me. By thunder!
Good,
I said confidently.
We have a deal then.
Suddenly, his tone changed.
That's enough of this nonsense,
he declared.
The tide's low enough. Take my orders, Captain Hawkins, and we'll sail in and be done with it.
Navigation was delicate and tricky, but Israel Hands was an excellent pilot.
We'll beach her there.
He pointed.
It's fine, flat sand. No wind, with trees all around. Get ready now, boy. We're near the beach. Steer right a little. Steady. Right. Steady. Steady. Now, my lad.
He commanded.
Sail the bow into the wind.
I swung the Hispaniola around rapidly and pointed her bow toward the wooded shore. I was so busy I'd almost forgotten my danger, but a sudden uneasiness seized me and I turned my head. Mr. Hands was coming at me with the dagger in his right hand. I screamed and he roared like a charging bull as he jumped toward me. I leaped away, letting go of the wheel, which struck him sharply across the chest. I ran to the main mast, drew a pistol from my pocket and took aim. I pulled the trigger, but nothing happened.
The gunpowder's wet!
I cursed.
Not your lucky day, Jim.
Laughed the pirate. Though wounded, Hands moved fast. Using the main mast as a shield, I waited, every nerve tingling. He came at me from one side of the mast and then the other as I dodged back and forth. Just then, the Hispaniola struck the beach, shuddered, and tipped to one side until the deck stood at a 45-degree angle. Both of us fell over, rolling almost together, with the body of Redcap tumbling after us. I got up first, but I had no place to run, so I sprang up onto the rigging, climbing hand over hand.
Your luck has run out, Jim? Yelled
Hands as he threw the dagger at me. It missed, but I didn't stop to breathe until I reached the crosspiece on the mast. I quickly changed the gunpowder in one pistol and started to reload the other. Israel Hands pulled himself into the ropes with a groan, retrieved the dagger, and put it between his teeth. Then, slowly and painfully, he began to climb. I finished reloading when he was about a third of the way up. With a pistol in each hand, I shouted,
"One more step, Mr. Hands, and I'll blow your brains out! Dead men don't bite, you know,"
I added with a chuckle. His eyebrows rose, and he stopped.
"Ha-ha!"
I laughed. The pirate took the dagger from his mouth.
"Jim,"
he said,
"I reckon we'll have to make a deal. I'd have killed you if that ship hadn't beached just then. Bad luck for me again."
As he spoke, his right hand went back over his shoulder. Then, something sang like an arrow through the air, and I felt a blow and then a sharp sting. He had pinned my shoulder to the mast with his dagger. In the horrible pain and surprise of the moment, and without my intention, both my pistols went off and fell from my hands. They didn't fall alone. With a choked cry, Israel Hands fell off the ropes and plunged headfirst into the water.